Most choir boys go through this transitions of their genitals, their scrotal sacs being taken off.
And do you call them eunuchs?
No. So I don't know how much of it applies to India. See, the Western world and the Indian world, the Oriental world, I think are very different.
Yeah, of course.
You know, your obsession about words is like, it's amazing. It's totally amazing.
You have to talk. Hey, HotForWords. I want to find out. No, you have to talk about this.
I can only speak 3 sentences. I don't make 7-second speeches.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I want to find out the etymology of the word eunuch and why it means something different for Indian people. So you guys got to give me your perception of the word eunuch. So, Archana, what is your perception of the word eunuch?
Okay, all my life I have seen eunuchs who kind of come to the ceremonies where when a baby is born and they bless the child and then they get money in return. Then they also dance at weddings. And then some eunuchs, unfortunately, they turn to asking for alms from people in railway trains and buses and all that. And they are a little intimidating to most of the people, so they kind of are given the alms.
Okay, so but what is a eunuch?
What I know.
Not what do they do, but what is a eunuch?
I might have a misconception here, but I think those are people who are ostracized by the society because of the kind of physical differences that they have from the guys and girls who are supposed to be normal. So
naturally by birth.
Naturally by birth.
Okay, okay. And what is your perception of the term eunuch?
The whole community, there is this
community.
It is a community, absolutely. It protects itself in such a way that a child who is partially or underdeveloped where reproductive organs are concerned can be picked up and protected and given a sort of a support base which otherwise parents will not be able to give at a later stage. So they always visit a child's birth, they dance there and they bless the child and the parents. But if they identify the lack of any genital or any reproductive parts, they also pick up the baby and take it into their community. Most eunuchs either ask you for money, they do not ask women, surprisingly, but you might be asked once in a way if they get down to it. But a lot of them, a major section of them also are sex workers because they have to resort to that, who knowing their identity would give them a job. So they are really a marginalized community, but they are a community which comes with the perception of how do you say, wanting to be of one gender. So the aspiration would necessarily be that we all are, want to dress like women, very pretty women at that. So they try to have salwars and kurtas and ghagras and cholis while at junctions. So that's really, really interesting. And I have my favorites at every junction. I think the older ones, because I know that no one would even give them work if they knew their sexual identity. So that's my perception. Okay,
so this is Indian people's perception of the word eunuch, which the word eunuch to me has always been completely boys that were born 100% boys, and in the service of a king or some leader, they have their pieces cut off to remain loyal to the king. And that's simply what a eunuch is. And that's what I've always known the term eunuch to mean. And obviously it has a very different meaning for Indian people, and maybe I'm wrong about the meaning. So, HotForWords, can you tell us a little bit about the etymology of the word eunuch? Thanks a lot. Okay, there's another perception that people want to add in. So give me your continued perception.
Well, the other perception also is that when you want a certain group of boys to sing in your choir, and they essentially need to have this very effeminate
hitting the high notes sort of thing.
Yeah, effeminate and shrill which is a lot of the Indian musicians.
Yeah, there was
women.
there was this other guy also. They showed it in a movie who had this really high soprano voice, and it's not from India, by the way. It's some French guy. I don't know what nationality. उसके ऊपर वो movie भी बनाई थी. They made a movie in which that guy, he's still a big hit with the women, and he had that thing done to him, that castration thing done to him when he was a child, so that his voice would really...
Yeah,
And is he called a eunuch? Is he...
No, he was like a most popular opera singer of his time.
But that's a different thing. That's the opera singer. But most choir boys go through this transitions of their genitals, their scrotal sacs being taken off.
And do you call them eunuchs?
No.
So the term eunuch does not apply to them?
I think it would extend to them, because in a certain way, I don't think it would be by choice, but it would be by a structure in which they are supposed to be inducted into, and their scrotal sacs come off, and they are able to hit those notes and be these lovely singers. So there is this, but I don't know how much of it applies to India.
Yeah.
That's our perception of the Western eunuch world.
Okay, alright. Okay, so there's some more perceptions on eunuch. It's just a different word. I'm curious what the etymology... And how did Indians start using it in this way? What we call transgender or transvestite, I guess, is what we consider transvestite.
I don't think they're not
they call eunuchs. Is that not correct?
They are not transvestite.
But they're men dressing up as women.
They do,
basically.
yeah, but they're not transvestites.
Okay,
No.
But they're men who dress up as women and perform in women-like ways.
Transgender, transvestites are different concepts.
And eunuch, where does it fall in? Is it in transgender, transvestite? Is it any of those?
It could be largely transvestite and transgender, but if it's something right from birth, it's really transgender. The way we perceive it is that you undergo surgery by choice.
Yeah.
That is transgender.
But eunuchs are from birth.
Transsexual is we want to dress up like the other gender. Okay? So transsexual is separate, transgender is separate, transvestite is got the hormones of both in differing proportions, which don't make you adhere to one particular community of women or men.
Okay.
Okay? And they are called, they are labeled very, very badly. So the neuter or linked with the women, like you always have women, young children, and the differently abled. You know, so it's always a weaker group.
And what?
So they also
what
try.
is referred to as a eunuch? A transgender, a transvestite, all of the above, none of the above, something different?
Transgender could be one.
Okay.
But transgender is, see, it's really this whole debate about sex work and prostitution.
So sex workers are called eunuchs?
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about another dilemma, another debate.
I'm just talking about the word eunuch. Like, what is its connection to things?
Like in a Western world, you might be very comfortable using sex worker as a definition of a worker. Okay? But really, if you see the kind of people who get into this line of work, are prostitutes in the sense that they are sexually exploited. They are in the chain of exploitation. They've been trafficked from another country or a village and get into sex work here. So we don't have any recognition. You can't go to a hospital and sign up and say, I'm a sex worker and I need my insurance, which you could possibly do in some of the more so-called developed countries of the world.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So there is this debate. Now, a transgender would typically be a person who has given his or her consent about undergoing a surgery to completely change his gender or her gender and take on the roles of that person.
Yeah.
Okay? So, a close friend of mine wanted to be a girl, and he does surgeries over a period of 4 years and actually becomes a woman.
And do you call him a eunuch?
No, he's a transgender.
Okay, so a transgender is not a eunuch.
No, because it's by choice.
Then what is a eunuch? A eunuch is by birth.
Mostly.
Okay.
Mostly. And then there are communities which might be castrating, like the choir boy community, and that would also fit into the eunuch. But see, the Western world and the Indian world, the Oriental world, I think are very different.
Yeah, of course.
You know, your obsession about words is like It's amazing. It's totally amazing how you guys want the perfect sentence to mean the perfect thing, and we'll be having this raving fight and emotions flying, and we don't mean a word of what we say. And you need your sentence so perfect. I think you should make a video on that.
A video about how we care too much about words.
Circumlocution, okay, we just beat around the bush too.
Okay.
No, I disagree. What kind of a person are you who says, what?
Circumlocution.
No, circumlocution. This is a locomote we are talking to.
Okay, let's end the video.